Good morning, class. Right now I'm going to talk about anxiety disorders, your lecture 4 for abnormal psychology. So, let's start with the topics to discuss. So, for this 45 slides, I guess, we will talk about the generalized anxiety disorder or the GAD, GAD. You will see it often on your books and on the slides in this particular lecture. Next, we got phobias, and then we got social anxiety disorder. We're going to talk about panic disorder. We're going to talk about as well as the OCD or the obsessive compulsive disorder. So we got 5 major topics for this lecture. But before talking about those 5 disorder, let us first differentiate fear from anxiety. Because most of the time, people think that when you are anxious, it means that you are also fearful. But class, anxiety does not equate to being fearful. So to prove that point, I'm going to discuss with you the definition of these two concept. When we say fear, it is an emotional response to an immediate threat and is more associated with a fight or flight reaction. I know you already know about the fight or flight. It's like when you are facing threatening objects or situations, you only got two things to do. Number one, fight. Are you going to face the problem? Are you going to talk about it? Are you going um to do something in order to reduce the stress of this problem, or are you going to flight? When we say flight, this is synonymous to escape the problem. So instead of talking about it, what are you going to do is just to sleep. Okay, so that's escaping. On the other hand, when we say anxiety, it refers, class, to the anticipation of a future concern and is more associated with muscle tension and avoidance behavior. So when we say tension, muscle tension, it means anxiety is more of physiological, whereas fear is more on emotional response. Another one, in anxiety, we have highlighted the word anticipation. It's because in anxiety, there is no existence of an object we feel threatened to. It's just something that we make up inside our brains. So we just keep on thinking that this object may appear out of nowhere and give us these anxious feelings. To make it more clear, it is anxiety, class, when you think that there might be a tiger somewhere in this place or within this forest. But it is fear when you actually see the tiger in front of you. It is fear, class, when you become stressed because you are responding from an immediate danger. As you could see on the picture, there is this shark chasing the fish. So the fish becomes so stressed, becomes so fearful because the shark is already in his back. While it is anxiety, if you're just thinking about what if a shark will appear and going to eat me. So there's no existence of an object that is threatening you. So that is, class, the difference. Anxiety is a normal and often healthy emotion. Class, bakit healthy yung anxiety? Because it serves as your catharsis or your stress reduction of the things you are worried about. Like for example, kung meron kayong mga relatives from other parts of the country or other parts of the globe that is affected by COVID-19, 'di ba? So, you get worried about them. What actually our body does is to natatakot tayo, hindi tayo mapakali, palakad-lakad tayo, napapaiyak tayo, so that actually our body defense mechanism in order to reduce those stresses that we have because of the things that we keep on thinking. And yung mga bagay na iniisip natin is actually anxiety. So, it's healthy in a sense na nai-express natin. Anxiety, again, by definition, refers to the anticipation. Ina-anticipate mo, iniisip mo na mangyayari of a future concern and associated with muscle tension and avoidance behavior. So, it's either we could feel it all over our body, or it's either we're going to avoid or escape. Nakita natin kanina, kapag sinabi nating fear, meron kang dalawang option. It's either to fight or to flight. Pero dito sa anxiety, ginagawa natin to because nagkakaroon tayo ng anxiety rather. At kapag meron tayong anxiety, what we just do is to avoid it. Like for example, can you describe your feeling when you are answering an examination na meron ng 1 hour limitation? And then, it's like having a 150 items. Or, for example, you come across with a snake in front of you, ready to bite you. What are you going to do or how are you going to feel about it? So, syempre, you become so fearful because it's in front of you. Syempre, pag sinabi ko sa inyo na just think about it, hindi pa nangyayari, like, ano ba yan? One month tayong naka-lockdown, tapos magpapa-exam agad. Okay? How are you going to feel about it? O kaya, nakita mo yung sarili mo sa isang lugar na pwedeng merong snake na bigla na lang lalabas. Okay? So, you feel anxious about it. And class, that is normal. Everyone feels anxious now and then, so it's a normal emotion. For example, you may feel nervous when faced with a problem at work, before taking a test, or before making an important decision. However, class, nagiging disorder ang isang anxiety if these things happen. For example, even if you're eating, you still think about the objects that you are worried about, that you are afraid of, that you are threatened of. You still think about those things that gives you anxiety, even if you are doing something like reading your books or studying. You still feel anxious about those things, even if you are doing something for yourself. You're taking a bath. Even at your work, you are working, but still you're thinking about the things that is threatening you. So if these objects that threatens you doesn't leave you, it is present in everything that you do, so there's a big chance that you are having an anxiety disorder. Frequently, you will feel an intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situations. Often, anxiety disorders involve repeated episodes of sudden feelings of intense anxiety and fear or terror that reach a peak within minutes, and we call that panic attacks. As you could see on our 5 major disorder, meron tayo dong tinatawag na panic disorder. That is worse. Bakit? You are avoiding to go outside of your house because you are fearing na magkakaroon ka ng panic attack. Ganun yung panic disorder. Okay, ina-avoid mo lahat ng situations that you think will make you to have episodes of panic attacks. Anyway, class, these feelings of anxiety and panic interfere with daily activities. You become so dysfunctional already, are difficult to control, out of proportion. You became overly reacting to something, to the actual danger, and can last a long time. You may avoid places or situations to prevent these feelings. Symptoms may start during childhood or the teen years and continue into adulthood. So that is anxiety disorder class. Like for example, niisip mo kung may arachnophobia ka, takot ka sa mga spiders, ganyan, ayaw mo nang pumasok sa trabaho mo because you worry na pagbukas mo ng desk mo may makikita ka. So, in this way, nagiging dysfunctional ka. At kapag naging dysfunctional ka, hindi ka makagawa ng trabaho mo, you could endanger yourself because hindi mo na mabuhay ang sarili mo, hindi ka na nakakasweldo. And then, class, anxiety disorders can cause people and to try to avoid, no? You have to pinpoint that word avoid situations that trigger or worsen your symptoms. Like job performance, schoolwork, and personal relationships can be affected. In general, for a person to be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, the fear or anxiety must be out of proportion to the situation or age inappropriate, and it hinder your ability to function normally. For example, you are a 35-year-old man with muscles, and then takot na takot ka sa langgam. Okay, so that is being out of proportion. And it hinder your ability to function normally. Ayaw mo nang kumain ng matatamis just because feeling mo kapag matamis laging merong langgam. All anxiety disorders share some general symptoms. Pag sinabi natin all anxiety disorders, kasama po yung panic disorder, yung GAD, yung phobia, social anxiety disorder, and yung OCD. Merong panic, merong fear, at merong feeling of uneasiness. Hindi makatulog sa gabi, not being able to stay calm and still, lagi na lang drums yung mga kamay, lagi na lang patingin kaliwat kanan, okay? Cold, sweaty, numb, or tingling hands or feet. Parang namamanhid ka, kaya parang laging may kumukuryente sa kamay mo or sa buong katawan mo. Shortness of breath, heart palpitations, nanunuyo yung bibig, nasusuka, tsaka tense muscles, and dizziness. So when you feel of these things, habang iniisip mo yung object na kinatatakutan mo or kinawaworry mo, so there's a probability that you will be having an anxiety disorder. So, let us single out the 5 major anxiety disorders. Alam na natin dito, ito yung mga general symptoms. Pero we wanted to know what are the difference or the distinct characteristics of each anxiety disorders. So let us start with generalized anxiety disorder. People with generalized anxiety disorder experience excessive anxiety under most circumstances and worry about practically anything. In fact, their problem is sometimes described as free-floating anxiety. According sa statistics class, most people na nagkakaroon ng generalized anxiety disorder are the females. Because they keep of thinking the thoughts that they are making inside their head is actually affecting their daily activities. As in, kahit na anong ginagawa nila, naiisip nila ang mga bagay-bagay. These are the symptoms: excessive anxiety and worry, increased muscle aches or soreness, nagkakaroon sila ng imagined physical pain sa katawan nila, sumasakit ang ulo, sumasakit ang tiyan, impaired concentration, malimit silang hindi matapos ang mga ginagawa nila because they keep on thinking, madaling mairita, difficulty sleeping, restlessness, walang gana, fatigue, parang sobrang pagod kahit wala namang ginagawa. So, these are the common symptoms of the GAD or generalized anxiety disorder. Bakit siya malimit na related with female? It's because these are also symptoms kapag daw ang babae ay mayroong menstruation period. But again, we can't really know kung totoo ba to or hindi pa. So, we could just only make a theory kasi nga parehas ng nagiging behavior kapag may menstruation ng isang babae. In sociocultural perspective, generalized anxiety disorder is most likely to develop in people who are faced with ongoing societal conditions that are dangerous. Studies have found that people in highly threatening environments are indeed more likely to develop the general feelings of tension, anxiety, and fatigue, and the sleep disturbances found in this disorder. So, generally, for example, yung paligid mo masyadong dangerous, maraming magnanakaw, maraming drug addicts. So, it gives you an anxiety that every time na lalabas ka, probably bad things are going to happen to you. Kasi nga, yun yung nasa paligid mo. Also, yung mga tao na nakatira sa highly populated o kaya hindi magandang environment, it can also be the family setup or relation with other people. So, yun yung mga nakakadagdag sa pagkakaroon ng generalized anxiety disorder. Pwede din siyang related mostly sa mga females because by culture, females are seen weak. So, iniisip nila na hindi natin kayang ipagtanggol yung sarili natin. That's why we became anxious kapag madilim na, kaya kapag walang ibang tao. So, something like that, class. Another one is yung poverty. Poverty, class, is highly correlated with socio-cultural perspective on generalized anxiety disorder. Why? Because poor people tends to think of what they're going to eat every day. Wala nang kakainin yung mga anak ko sa umaga, sa tanghali, sa gabi. Okay, saan kami matutulog sa susunod? Ano ang ipang-e-enroll ko? So, they keep on thinking of these things. Kasi nga, most poor people are isang kahig, isang tuka. So, it makes them anxious. Number 2, psychodynamic perspective. Children experience 2 kinds of anxiety. Number 1, we got the realistic anxiety. Number 2, we have the moral anxiety. What is the difference of these 2? Realistic anxiety is when you face actual danger. It's like a fear. Kikita mo kung saan nanggagaling yung takot mo. Neurotic anxiety when they are repeatedly prevented by parents or by circumstances from expressing their id impulses. Mga wants nila. Diba? Sometimes ayaw mo sabihin na iihi ka na lang sa salawal mo kasi yung tatay mo sobrang strict. Okay? Yung tatay mo becomes the actual danger. Moral anxiety when they are punished or threatened for expressing their id impulses. So when we say moral anxiety, it's just like emotional blackmail mo sila. So, parang, naku, baka pag ginawa ko to, baka paluin niya ako. Okay? So, it's something na pag may ginawa ka, baka makalabag ka ng isang batas or rules. That is the moral anxiety. So, kalaban mo yung sarili mong thoughts. According to Freud, some children experience particularly high levels of such anxiety or their defense mechanism are particularly inadequate, and these individuals may develop generalized anxiety disorder because they don't know what they are going to do. Ang alam lang nila, sumunod ng sumunod sa mga magulang nila. According to Freud, when a child is overrun by neurotic or moral anxiety, the stage is set for generalized anxiety disorder. Kapag sa takot nilang magsabi na nararamdaman nila sa mga magulang nila, na nagsisimula yung generalized anxiety disorder kasi hindi nila ma-express. Sabi nga natin, to reduce the stress coming from anxiety, you should express it. Ilabas mo. Kaso nga, dahil takot sila sa authority figure, they tend to keep it to themselves and later on, nagiging God. In humanistic perspective, humanistic theories propose that generalized anxiety disorder, like other psychological disorders, arises when people stop looking at themselves honestly and acceptingly. Okay? Repeated denials of their true thoughts, emotions, and behavior make these people extremely anxious and unable to fulfill their potential as human being. Sometimes, class, yung anxiety nanggagaling doon sa hindi natin pagtanggap kung sino tayo. Meron tayong tinatawag, according kay Rogers, na ideal self and the real self. Na sometimes, yung ideal self natin is masyadong distant or masyadong malayo dun sa kung ano man tayo. Na sometimes, meron tayong gusto sa buhay na outside or beyond the limits of our means. So, mas maganda ding isipin, class, na hindi naman masamang mangarap, pero yung realistically, alam nating pwede nating maabot. Or for example, kung mataas yung pangarap mo, sobrang taas, babaan mo muna ng konti. You just have to make it parang scaffolding isa-isa until you reach that level na pwede ka nang mag-assume or feeling mo may means ka na to actually get the things that you wanted. Okay? According kay Rogers, children who fail to receive unconditional positive regard from others may become overly critical of themselves and develop harsh self-standards, what Rogers called conditions of worth. They try to meet these standards by repeatedly distorting and denying their true thoughts and experiences. So let's talk about Rogers. Si Rogers kasi sinasabi niya na for you to lessen your anxiety, dapat alam mo yung conditions of worth mo na primary nang gagaling sa mga magulang. Yun nga yung unconditional positive regard, class. It's unconditional positive regard kapag natutuwa sa'yo yung mga parents mo kapag may ginagawa kang isang bagay. And naiintindihan din ng parents mo kapag nagfe-fail kang gumawa ng isang bagay. In a sense na hindi naghahangad ng kapalit yung mga magulang mo kapag may ginagawa ka for them. Yun yung unconditional positive regard. Kasi sometimes ang mga magulang mag-express lang ng love, ng sense of pride kapag yung mga anak nila naka 100 sa exam, kapag na first honor, second honor. Pero kapag naka 0 sila or kaya nag-fail sila sa isang activity, magiging distant or sisimangot yung magulang. So kapag sumimangot yung magulang mo kapag may ginawa kang hindi ayon sa gusto nila, sometimes ang na-feel ng mga bata is that, may condition of worth pala na nangyayari dito. It's like, masaya lang sila kapag maganda yung ginagawa ko. Natutuwa lang sila kapag nakaka-achieve ako ng something. So, sinasabi ni Rogers, class, na kapag ganito yung naramdaman ng mga bata, along the way, nagkakaroon sila ng generalized anxiety disorder because they keep on thinking about, they keep on worrying na kapag may ginawa sila na hindi maganda, hindi magugustuhan ng mga magulang nila. Okay? In cognitive perspective naman, followers of the cognitive model suggest that psychological problems are often caused by dysfunctional ways of thinking. When we say again cognitive, it involves our thinking capacity. Cognitive theory suggested that generalized anxiety disorder is primarily caused by maladaptive assumptions, a notion that continues to be influential. Albert Ellis, for example, proposed that many people are guided by irrational beliefs that lead them to act and react in inappropriate ways. Ellis called this basic irrational assumption, and he claimed that people with generalized anxiety disorder often hold the following ones. Example, sa green, it is a dire necessity for an adult human being to be loved or approved of by virtually every significant other person in his community. So, if you are young, and meron kang ganitong false belief na lahat ng tao kailangan mahalin ka, kailangan ng lahat ng tao i-approve yung lahat ng ginagawa mo, you tend to get worried. Paano kapag hindi? Paano kapag may ginawa kang mali? So, this is a false belief in a way, class, na along the way, hindi naman lahat ng tao maipiplease natin. Okay? If something is or may be dangerous or fearsome, one should be terribly concerned about it and should keep dwelling on the possibility of its occurring. It's not good. Kasi ang alam nga natin, when we say anxiety, ang kailangan gawin is to avoid. But there are times, class, na when something is fearful, kailangan harapin din natin. Okay? Kailangan labanan natin in order to go on or move on with our life. So that is another false belief. One should be thoroughly competent, adequate, and achieving in all possible respect if one is to consider oneself worthwhile. So, class, this is impossible to do. Again, we cannot please anyone. So, kahit hindi ka naman ganun ka-competent, ganun ka-achiever, it doesn't mean na walang taong makakaintindi sa'yo or tatanggap sa'yo. Ito nga yung problema ng mga parents na masyadong mataas ang expectations towards their children. Na nagkakaroon tuloy yung mga bata na isipin na they are not worthy, na hindi sila magaling, na hindi sila karapat-dapat na maging anak ng doktor or ng abogado nilang mga tatay. Ito yung sinasabi ni Rogers na conditions of worth. Kaya nakikita lang ng mga magulang mo yung ikaw bilang isang tao kapag may ginawa kang maganda or mabuti. It is awful and catastrophic when things are not the way one would very much like them to be. Again, we are humans. We don't know what is happening around us. I mean, we cannot control the things that is happening around us. So, kahit na gaano ka pa kaplanado or pinlano mo yung buong buhay mo, ang kaya lang nating i-control is ourselves. Kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung magiging susunod na action ng mga tao sa paligid natin. So, dapat lang maging handa tayo with regards to that. That is why, ang pinaka-definition talaga ng tao na intelligent is actually their ability to adapt to environmental changes and as well as manage their emotions. In biological perspective, sinasabi dito, class, that some of our anxiety are caused by the hormones or chemicals inside our body. Isa na nga dyan, yung benzodiazepines. It provides relief from anxiety. The development of radioactive techniques enable researchers to pinpoint the exact sites in the brain that are affected by benzodiazepines. So, ginagamit to in order to know kung saan nagkakaroon ng tension, and then the doctors were going to go on and study that specific area. Next is the GABA or the gamma aminobutyric acid. Kapag merong inactivity in the GABA, it means merong anxiety that is going on inside of our body. The state of excitability ceases. Again, inactivity, nagde-decrease yung activity ng GABA, and the experience of fear or anxiety subsides. Kaya yung ibang mga doctor scientists, they create medicine, okay, that would cause the GABA to decrease its activity because they believe na kapag kokonte yung numbers of GABA or kapag magiging mabagal yung action ng GABA inside of our body, pwede nilang pababain din yung nararamdaman nating anxiety or fear. So, in DSM-5 criteria for GAD diagnosis, general anxiety disorder symptoms are as follows. Yan. Binigyan ko kayo, class, ng copy ng DSM-5 in PDF format. Pwede nyo naman yung tignan dyan. Hindi naman natin kailangan sa uluhin. And dun sa letter A, kailangan mayroong excessive anxiety and worry, not occurring more days than not for at least 6 months. Usually naman ng mga disorders, kailangan merong pattern. And usually the pattern takes up until 6 months. no, about a number of events or activities. B, the individuals finds it difficult to control the worry. They cannot manage their worriness. The anxiety and worry are associated with 3 or more of the following 6 symptoms, with at least some symptoms having been present for more days than not for the past 6 months. Note, only one item is required in children. So, different than when you are diagnosing symptoms from adult and from children. D, the anxiety, worry, or physical symptoms cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of function. It means you cannot do anything about your normal life because your brain is occupied with this worriness. E, the disturbance is not attributable to the physiological effects of a substance. Ibig sabihin sa letter E, yung anxiety mo ay hindi dahil alcoholic ka, kaya umiinom ka ng mga gamot, o kaya mahilig kang magkape. So, F, the disturbance is not better explained by another mental disorder. Ibig sabihin, yung anxiety mo ay hindi dahil ikaw ay may ibang medical conditions. Iwanag? So, yun yung pinakakailangan din nating tandaan minsan, class. Dapat, kapag nag-identify tayo that someone has a generalized anxiety disorder or other anxiety disorder, it's not because of another external factors like, eto nga, umiinom ka or nagtitake ka ng ibang substance o kaya meron kang ibang sakit. Okay, class? So, those are the generalized anxiety disorders. So, stop tayo muna sa number 1.